Hey guys, Remy here, and today I have a very special video for you guys. And one of the topics that I've been really looking forward to get into but haven't been able to in a while is games development. I find this fascinating. Fortunately, I have a friend. His name is Clinton. He's a senior games developer and has been for a while at many companies with many years of experience under his belt. Now, in this video, I have the privilege to learn from the master himself as it teaches me games development and Unity from scratch as an absolute beginner. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you want to follow Clinton and his work, I've left links down in the description. You can follow him on Twitter, follow him on GitHub, follow him on LinkedIn. He does share some interesting and fascinating stuff. His areas of interest and passions are games development, AI, and as of recent, he's been getting into blockchain. Now, hope you enjoy this video. Here we go.
Developer. Um, yeah, both of these engines would be so Unity would be the best to use in this case.
Okay, understood.
And both these engines perform like you could do similar sort of quality of work if you put enough time into it, even for Indeed. But for Unreal, it's the learning curve that's really high. That new developers when they get into Unreal, yeah, it'll take quite a bit of time to understand and get used to it.
Okay, is it just because it has a lot more features?
Um, it has a ton of features, and to learn each feature, you could spend a lot of time. You could spend your entire life just learning features and never build a game.
Okay, gotcha. So like C++ with the pointers. Spend your entire time learning it.
Yeah, C++ is way better now. If you look at C++20, they are tending to get developers into uh, special classes like unique pointers and shared pointers,
Uh-huh.
so you don't have to deal with those pointer types as much. And as a result, the code's much more readable than it was before. Um, just using ref candid pointers is way better. Um, just in readability sake and um, memory management as well.
Okay, I get you.
All right. Should
Done.
we
It's finished.
should we start a project on my computer? Or would you like to do it
Yeah.
from yours?
All right, let's do it from mine since you're teaching me. I'll start the project. So I'll just click new
Yep.
here, yeah.
Yep.
All right, new project. And what shall we call it?
You could just call it FPS since that's what we're going for.
Yep. First FPS. Let's call it FPS. Um, 3D, right? Yeah.
Yep. It's gonna be a 3D game.
All right. This appears to be taking longer than usual. Please continue waiting. Right, should be done in a bit. Does yours take a while?
I'm create I'm creating a game on mine
Okay.
computer as well.
Right, as we speak. Cool. So we can do it simultaneously.
Yeah. If you ever get stuck, I can continue on my screen.
Okay.
It takes a while to build a project. It's basically copying over template files and setting up all the packages in the backend. But Unity does everything out of the box for you, especially as a starting developer. It does a lot of things for you, makes life way easier.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I saw some like text tutorials on Unity, and it looked pretty impressive. Like you can make games that look rather realistic, and in not so long a period of time. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Like the handy thing about Unity is you can drag and drop a lot of stuff in, and it's very designer friendly.
Mm.
And it's really easy to add scripts and kind of understand what is going on.
All right,
So,
I've got it set up. I've got
yep,
this 3D plane.
Yep, you have a blank screen, and on your left side you'll see an outliner. So you have a main camera
Yep.
and a directional light.
I do.
Yeah, the camera is basically used to see. It's used in the game as as visual perspective.
Uh-huh.
So that could be your player's eyes. So if you attach it to your player's eyes,
Okay.
they would be seeing through that.
Okay.
You can have multiple cameras, but that's probably out of the scope for now.
Right.
And now you have a directional light. So without the directional light, your scene would pretty much be black. So you obviously need some sort of lighting. So we have a directional light in the scene. So when you click on your directional light and on your inspector, which is on the right, you'll see a checkbox at the top.
Uh-huh.
So if you click that, that would disable the light.
Okay.
And in the middle of your screen, you see there's two panels, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's a scene and a game.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Scene in the game.
So the game is where the camera sees through,
Okay.
and the scene is where you as a developer would place objects and tools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So the first thing what we'll do is we'll create a flow.
Okay.
So in order to create a flow, just right click the outliner.
The outliner. What was the outliner?
Yeah, just
here?
Yeah, that's the outliner.
Okay.
Just below, yeah.
Okay.
And 3D object.
Yep.
And plane, that's the fifth one.
All right.
Yeah, that creates a plane.
Uh-huh.
Now you can move the plane around using the arrow keys you have there when you select it.
Okay, yeah, I see. The arrow keys.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You can move it
So
up.
these arrow keys, yeah, these
Okay.
arrow keys represent 3 dimensions
Yep.
in your scene. So the 3 dimensions is X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
So in Unity, Y is pointing up straight to the sky. Z is usually forward.
Uh-huh.
And X is to the left and right. So if you hold Alt and then click and drag your cursor, you can rotate around the scene.
Yep, I see.
Yeah, that's it.
Uh-huh. Right, I see. So it's actually.
So you can rotate in a way where, yeah, your Z is pointing forward. So it would make more sense.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Right. So
uh-huh.
Another thing is when you select your plane on your inspector, you'll see your components. You'll have different components on the screen.
Yep.
So you have a transform, you have a plane on the right side. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Transform.
You have a transform.
Uh-huh.
And in the transform, you have position, rotation, scale. You have a plane. Yep.
Yep.
So that's the mesh. You can actually change the mesh. So if you click on the plane or a little circle that's on the right of it,
Yep.
You'll see like different other meshes that you could select.
All right. So what shall we do? Some cylinder, cube, sphere.
Yeah, try cube.
All right, let's do cube.
Yeah, so you can see the mesh actually change into a cube. Yeah.
Nice.
So let's change it back to a plane as it was before.
Okay. Plane. Yep.
Yep. The second one is mesh renderer. So that basically handles lighting and materials and how your mesh reacts to the environment.
Okay.
And how it basically displays on the screen. If you disable it, it basically doesn't show the mesh.
Okay.
And the last component is the mesh collider.
The mesh collider.
Yeah, if you close the mesh renderer, yeah, that's the mesh collider. So the mesh collider handles collision. It basically tells the game where this plane is, and it sets the boundaries of the plane. So whenever you have like any sort of physics simulations, the mesh collider is the information that tells the tells other objects about itself.
Okay.
Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Let's go back to the transform.
All right. Transform over here.
Yeah. So if you move in X, that's another way to sort of. So if you click the giant X,
Yep, the channel.
yeah, the label, just click and drag.
Click and drag. Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, I see. You can do that.
And you can, yeah.
Yep.
So that's really handy as well. If you want to be precise, you can add those numbers in. So I'm just going to set everything to 0.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just type in 0 for all the 3 values.
All right, let's do this. 0, 0, and 0. So that's like in
Yep.
Yep.
And for the scale, let's increase that to 10.
Okay. For the X?
Yep.
Okay.
X, Y, and Z. Y, you probably don't need it, but it's fine.
All right, cool.
Because Y is upwards.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Next thing we'll do is go back to your outliner.
Uh-huh. Yep. Here.
Right click. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
3D object and create a cube.
All right.
Yep. You can, if you press F, you will actually zoom in to the cube.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And then your Alt mouse button, you can rotate around the cube.
Yep.
Yep. And your middle mouse can pan if you want to pan up and down, left and right.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And the right click would zoom.
The right click would zoom to where? Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, seems like your controls are a bit different there.
A little bit, I guess.
If you have any troubles, I can always shift to my screen.
All right, cool. Guess I can move it around. So for the time being, we're good, yeah?
Yeah, for time being, we're good. All right, so when you look at the inspector, we'll see similar set of components we had before.
Yeah.
Let's add a new component. So right now, before we do any of that, let's hit the play button at the top.
Uh-huh.
So that will start the game.
Okay.
And this is what it looks in your game, looking through the camera.
Yeah.
This is what the player would see.
Uh-huh.
And you can see the cubes just standing in the air doing nothing. It's kind of a little boring. So let's add some physics.
All right, let's do
Right.
it.
So click on the play button again.
Yep.
And on your right, yeah, inspector,
Uh-huh.
add a component, the bottom button.
Yep.
Yep. And look for rigid body.
Rigid body.
You can type it in the search bar.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. So this will add some physics to your objects. Whenever you want to add physics, you need two components, the rigid body and the collider. The collider handles the collision and the rigid body handles the physics, movement, that sort of thing.
All right.
So now when you hit play, let's see what happens.
It's gonna fall down because it has a massive 1.
Hopefully.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's make some more cubes.
All right.
So select a cube and do control. Yeah, select the cube. Yeah, and do control D. That's a way to duplicate.
Okay.
And then you can move it around with the arrow keys. Yeah.
Right. So it's exactly right. There we go. Yep.
Yeah. Let's make another one and put it on the top.
Sorry. Control D. Yeah. Let's move that around. Put it on the top. Like
Yep.
this.
That's right. Yep. Just move it somewhere in the center so the cubes can fall in a weird way.
All right.
Yeah, move it in the Z a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
And let's hit play, see what happens.
They're gonna fall and will they roll? Or is that not configured yet? Oh, they actually roll. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's all run by physics. Yeah.
I like physics.
Now Now, if you wanted to ever want to restrain controls,
Uh-huh.
you would go to your rigid body
Yep.
and you'll see constraints on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
A constraint, and if you expand that, you can constrain
You can freeze it in a certain
certain
position.
things. Yeah. So you could freeze the rotation, and then it wouldn't rotate anymore. Or if you want the position to stay the same, and just rotate, then you can freeze the position.
Okay.
Yep, pretty simple. So we created 3 cubes and added some physics to it.
Yep.
Now we'll just add a simple first-person controller.
All right.
To make a first-person controller, to do it from scratch is quite complicated, but fortunately, Unity has a standard assets pack which is completely free that you could download and use.
Okay.
So let's add that, see how we go.
All right.
So click on Window
Window. Yep.
and Asset Store.
Asset store. Yep. Gotcha.
Yep. So click on Search Online. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Here we go.
And search for standard assets
Standard assets.
in the search bar. Yep.
In the search bar. Cool. Oh, what happened? Didn't click anything at all.
I think it's
There
loading.
we go.
Oh.
Yep. Down there. Standard asset. There we go.
And scroll down a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And you see standard assets for Unity. Yeah, that one.
Yep.
Get that. So when you get, so this is the asset store where you could find a lot of assets for your game.
Okay.
And if you're mostly a coder or mostly a designer, you can find this useful. You can see different assets made by other people, and some of them are free, some of them are paid.
Okay. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So
So this one's made by Unity, and it's free. Yeah.
Open in Unity.
And open in Unity. That's right.
Will it do anything?
Do you have any protections against opening links?
I don't think so.
What does it say? I saw a little pop-up come up when you
It
click
just
that.
says it still wants to open this application.
Yep. I think you need to enable the checkbox probably. That didn't work.
I do wonder, should it just pop up somewhere here?
Go to your Windows. Usually it should show up in your package manager. So Window, package manager.
Yep.
And it should come up in your assets.
What is the assets?
Click on packages and projects. And select my assets. See if it comes up there.
Yeah, it's here.
Yep, seems like it does. Yep. And
Download.
click on download. Yep.
All right. It's pretty fast. Should be done pretty quickly. Yeah, so far it's been pretty good. I mean, you made 3 cubes. We had them fall. We had them roll down. Pretty good physics.
Yeah, pretty simple. We made a floor and we also added a few components. In 3 steps, we already made something that's very interesting.
Indeed. We'll be able to make, for example, if we make a first-person view, and then we'll be able to walk around those cubes, yeah, and maybe shoot at them.
Yeah.
And have them do something upon impact. Like when a bullet hits them, they can sort of like roll backwards, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how far we can go with that. Things can get really, really complicated when you get into game design.
All right, it's fun. I like it. Beginning, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, that's now done with 98%.
And we need to import into the project.
Yep.
Yep. And those are everything.
Yep.
So those are all the assets that's going to be imported. It'll take a little bit of time.
All right.
I'm doing it on same on my PC
Okay.
just in case.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it simultaneously. Did you make 3 cubes as well? What was it just me?
Yeah.
You made 3 cubes?
Yep. I made 3 cubes. I was doing the exact same thing you were doing.
Okay, awesome. So have you tried any other engines besides Unity and Unreal and DirectX?
Well, I made my own engines on C++, but
Okay.
it's way too like it takes way more time to do something like that.
Is it on GitHub?
That's why Unity. I haven't put it on GitHub. I think it was like long back when I made it, and it's not the best engine, I would say. Just me playing around, trying to make my own game and engine. Usually, when you make your engine, you should separate it from the game, and that's the right way to do it. So you can reuse the engine for other games.
Okay.
Yeah, that's usually the right process.
Mm.
All right, so I think you've got the asset in
Yep.
there, so you can close this package manager.
All right.
Um,
Shall we go back to?
when I downloaded my standard assets, I actually had an error.
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if you have the same error.
Is
Do
it
you have any?
I've got a warning that says our component at index 2 could not be loaded when loading game object main camera, removing it.
Can you click on that?
Yeah, it's in the console.
That's all right. Can you on the top right just click on the 27 warnings?
Yep.
Yeah. So that should disable any sort of warnings you don't care about. So this is the error that I had before. This is easy to fix if you double click this.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what we need to do is to change the GUI text to just text. So line 11 where it says public GUI text,
Yep.
just change that to text.
Okay.
Yep. And at the top where it says using Unity engine,
Yep.
you can just duplicate it.
As in duplicate it.
Yeah. Duplicate it, make another line underneath,
Uh-huh.
and then add .ui next to it.
.ui, I guess.
Yeah, in caps.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Hopefully this resolves the issue. If not, we can just delete the script.
Okay, gotcha.
So just close it, and Unity should automatically compile it. And if everything goes well,
Yep. Compile.
you should have no errors.
Right, because it's sort of like has been deprecated, yeah. So
Yeah, this code is a bit outdated. If you see the versioning, it was made in 2018, and certain components of Unity get updated quite frequently. So sometimes things get outdated in packages.
Okay. No more errors. Just warnings.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I like to disable warnings because they can be quite annoying.
All right, cool.
All right, awesome. So I'm gonna do the same thing on my side. So I get rid of the error.
Okay.
And I think we're good. All right, so let's look in standard assets.
All right.
And we're gonna look for characters.
Okay. How do I load the assets? Oh, yeah.
It's already there, yeah.
Yeah, characters.
Characters, and I think what we need is first person. That's right. And then prefabs. So prefabs is a way to. So now we have object in the scene. In the outliner, you have about 6 different objects that you see, right? On the left, top left. Now, sometimes you might have multiple scenes. And you might have multiple objects with the same components and the same variables. And prefabs is a useful way to store an object that could be used multiple times. So this cube that you have, you can actually make it into a prefab. So if you drag your cube into your assets folder, it will actually become a prefab.
Okay. How do I drag the
So
cube?
you need to drag it. You need to drag it from the outliner
Oh, from the
to
outliner.
the
Yep.
assets
Gotcha.
file.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Cool.
there you go.
Uh-huh.
So now we have a cube prefab. So now you can drag it from there, from your asset, and into the scene, and it will create an instance of that prefab.
Ah, okay. There we go. We got
Yeah,
5 cubes now.
and they all have physics
Yep.
because
They're,
they all have physics components.
yeah, they're a copy of one another.
Yeah, if you select any of those cubes, you'll see the physics, the rigid body attached to each of them,
Yep.
and they all are set up in the prefab. And that's a very useful way to manage your objects.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in our standard assets, Unity has given us a prefab that we could use for the first person character. So if you see the first person controller, drag that into the game
Yep. Here we are.
and bring it a little bit higher so it stands above the plane.
Oh, yeah, it's the sphere.
And
Gotcha.
you can see that it already has a camera attached to it. So what we can do is delete the camera we already had in the scene and just use the FPS controller.
Okay.
So on the left, the outliner is very useful. So sometimes looking for objects
Ah,
might take a lot of time. So the outliner is a useful way to
So
find objects. So
it's
it's
the
main camera.
Yep.
Yep.
Shall we delete it?
Yep. Just delete key. Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And just hit play. See what happens.
It's kind of looking the other way. Won't see any cubes. Yeah, it was looking the other way. Oh, you can the mouse already the mouse control already works.
Yeah.
Is there a way to like
There we go.
Yeah,
And
freeze the scene so that
use your press escape if you wanna. Yeah.
Because you see, like,
You might not.
as I'm dragging the mouse, it sort of like goes off screen, and then I want to see
Yeah.
the other cubes, and then I have to like do this, and then it sort of like goes back. Is there a way to?
Can you click on the scene?
Yep. Scene.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Um.
I'm guessing I could.
All right. So there might be a way to disable the mouse. Which is not done in the FPS controller at the moment.
Right, I'm guessing.
Usually for the stuff. Yeah, I can look online for you if you wanna find a way to disable the mouse.
That's all right. We'll do it later. It wasn't so much that I want to disable the mouse. It's more like, you see how like I want to rotate further, but I can't.
Yeah, that's really weird because I don't seem to have that issue, but
Okay.
it might be due to your recording or something like that.
Maybe. We'll fix it later.
Try your WASD keys, see if they work. Are you able to move around?
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty good. I'm able to like, the controls are much better like this. I'm guessing when the game is full screen and I don't have the Unity panels, it's not gonna be a problem because I'll be able to drag my mouse all the way to the end of the screen, and it's not gonna also like go out of the outside of the bounds of the screen. So that's the problem. It's going outside the bounds of the screen. When it's full screen, it's not gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. We've created something really cool with just a few clicks. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What shall we do next?
Try and knock over those boxes. They might be a bit heavy. Let's give it a shot. See if you can collide with them.
Yeah. I'm knocking them over. Would there be a way to change color of the boxes so they can be more distinct against the background?
Yes, this is where we come to materials.
Okay.
So right now the scene is kind of all white and it's kind of hard to see. So let's make things a bit easier.
Yep.
So let's start with materials.
Right.
So
materials.
click on your assets folder.
Yep.
On the bottom left. Yep. Yep. And we could create a folder just to organize stuff. So just create a folder. Call it materials. Yep. and open up the folder. And within the folder, you can create a material, which is about 10 lines down or 20.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
All right. Material.
And
Shall I call it something specific?
yep, you could give it, you could call it red or yellow.
Let's go red.
Yep. And on your inspector, you'll see a white eyedropper.
Yeah.
If you click, next to the eyedropper, you can just double click that, and you should you'll get a color picker,
Okay.
and you can choose a color. So the middle box, yeah, that's right.
Yep. All right. Let's do this one. Yeah.
Somewhere on top right. Yep.
Cool.
So we've created your material, and now we need to apply it. So basically, you just drag the material and add it to the cubes. Drag it over the cubes. Yep.
Oh, that's really easy. It's cool.
Pretty easy. Yep.
Yeah, so intuitive.
You can create another one, which is yellow, if you want to.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Let's So let's see if I got this without your help. We just go materials. It was assets. Then where did we have the fabs? Fabs was in the C.
It was in materials folder. Yep.
I mean for the cube. So like fabs. Fats. The one.
You wanted to add it to the.
Like let's create
Oh, you
another cube.
wanted to add it to the prefab.
Yeah, prefab. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. What were the prefabs
Yeah.
again? Which folder?
I believe you might have hidden it in the first person character. So on your left panel,
Oh yeah.
bottom left.
Yep.
And you see prefabs way down.
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So inside of standard out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can drag this into your assets folder.
Yeah, let's drag this into my assets folder. Prefabs.
That's at the top. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's better. Here we are. It's very useful. So we got another cube, and now we can go to materials. We can make another one. Yeah.
Yep. I'll let you have a go at it.
All right. Material. Then let's call it blue. Let's change the color to blue. Let's call it deep blue. All right. And now we're gonna drag it, and yeah, there we go. We have a blue cube.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm gonna show you another material that you can make using textures.
Uh-huh.
Let's create another material.
Okay.
The same way you did before.
Yep.
And let's just call it text, I guess, for short. Text. Yep.
Text. Yep.
Yeah. Name it whatever you want. Yeah.
Cool. Text.
And now go back to the albedo. That's at the first variable next to the color that you choose before. And so like on the left, yeah, the little circle you see between them, click on that. And you should see a variety of textures that you could choose from.
Okay.
Select the one that you feel appropriate for your ground texture.
Let's do something like
one of those ones that are a lot of detail.
Yeah, how about this one?
Yep.
Right. And then
so let's drag
to the plane.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Now you might see it's a bit stretched, so we can actually fix that up. Select your texture material again.
Yep, here we are.
And you'll see some tiling properties in the middle. So go down right after emission, a bit above. Yep. You see the 4 boxes there?
Yep, tiling. Yep.
Yep. Increase that to maybe 10 for each side.
Yep.
So you'll have a bit of tiling on your floor. You'll
sense.
see the textures duplicated a little bit. So it looks much nicer than stretching it out um, for a very long,
Yeah, definitely.
to the entire plane. Yeah.
Wow,
And now you can play the game again, see how it looks.
looks way better. Let's go with that. Where are my cubes? Oh, here.
Yeah, let's have a.
Let's knock them about. Jump on the cubes. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I could also create more cubes that I'm just hanging in the air because I can disable the physics and jump onto them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. That's cool. What shall we do next?
I think next thing, would you like to do? Since you mentioned a platform, we could try and do that.
Alright.
Just make a stationary platform.
Yeah.
Since I showed you quite a bit, let's see how you can tackle it.
Okay. So
Make a stationary platform that a player can jump onto,
okay.
or maybe make a couple of platforms so you could reach the top as well.
Let's see.
Sort of like a staircase.
Yep. So it's not gonna be a cube. Cylinder, plane, quad, terrain, tree. I could make.
I would say cube. Cube is the best.
Cube is the best. All right.
Yeah, and you can scale it to a staircase or a rectangle.
I'll call it platform. And let's just.
Yep. I'll show you a little trick. If you press R, that should give you scale controls. So now if you drag with the boxes, you can scale the platform.
I can make it like stairs.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
How do I move around the plane? As in, like, I want to go to my right.
Usually you would do it with your middle mouse, but it seems like
oh yeah, there we go.
You had a few issues before, so I was skeptical if it worked this time. All right, awesome.
So how do I go back to dragging it after I've pressed R?
You press W.
W. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Another way that you could do it is on your top left panel, right on the file. You'll see a couple of toolbars.
Yep. Toolbars. Top left.
Yeah, a few buttons. So right now the move is selected, so you can select rotation, which is next to it.
Oh, okay, I see. There it is. When I press for the hotkeys, they just do that. Okay.
Yeah. And you could also click the button if you forget the hotkeys. But WER is the best hotkeys that you would usually use.
Yep. Okay, gotcha. So let's bring it a little bit lower. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm just gonna make like a staircase to the sky.
Yeah.
So let's
remember, Control D is your duplicate.
Yeah, Control D. I'm gonna add this to a prefab.
That's much smarter.
And then I'm just gonna let's go ahead and come here, and then I'm going to put another one. Just gonna drag it up. I'm guessing I'll be able to make that jump. Just align them. I might not be able to make that jump, but now I will.
There's only one way to test it.
Yes.
You play and
game.
you test it and you iterate. That's game development. You gotta make sure that you test every time because you never know if something works or not.
Yeah, I wish Cyberpunk tested more before they released the game. Actually, I can do Control.
I'm not gonna comment on it.
Have you played it?
I haven't got the game. I guess I got a little bit lucky that I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I've been burnt out by Fallout 76. So I've learned my lesson. Now I just wait for the reviews before I get a game.
Yeah, smart idea. Anyway, let's see. Let's test it out. See if I can climb these stairs. Okay, here we go.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Sweet.
I cleared it with one jump. I could definitely have spaced them out more, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You could probably make a platform to jump across, make some space in between, and do some parkour.
A parkour game, I like it. So let's make another platform just for fun. Cool, here we are. Let's add another one here. These controls are a bit like, you know, when you do the inverse mouse movement button on GTA, it just feels really weird at first. It's like it's a bit like that.
Yeah. When you use a different game engine, sometimes your axes are completely different, and it takes a while to get used to. In Unreal, the Z-axis actually points up, but in Unity, the Y-axis points up, as you can see.
Which
so sometimes it might get confused. Yeah. All right, see if you can make that jump.
Let's try again.
It's a little bit challenging, yeah.
All right.
Nice.
We got made a jump. Cool. Shall we make something like would it be possible, for example, that the game's objective is to make that jump, and once I'm actually standing on that platform, have like a something that tells me like, yes, you've passed the level?
Yeah, that should be something really simple to do.
Okay.
It will require some sort of scripting. I hope you're.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Are you ready for some scripting?
I'm ready for some scripting.
All right. Let's create let's be a little bit neat. Let's create a scripts folder, so where we could put all our scripts in.
All right. Scripts. There we go.
All right. So let's think about this. So what we want to do is we want to go up the stairs, jump across, reach the other platform.
Yep.
And we need something to tell us that maybe you win. You've reached the blue you reached the blue platform, right? So the first thing we need is some way to tell us that we've reached the blue platform.
Yes.
One way to do it is using collision detection.
Yes.
So let's try that. The first thing we want to do is let's actually create what happens when we reach the platform. You get a you win text, right?
Yep.
So let's create that text. So let's make some UI first for winning.
Okay.
So right click. Yeah, we'll do it in the outliner. So right click the outliner.
Yep.
And select UI.
UI. Yep.
And yeah, let's do some text.
All right.
Now, Unity UI is a little bit wonky or massive.
Okay.
That's one downside about Unity with UI. So let's select the text and press F. Yeah.
What the hell?
So text is, yeah.
Yeah, I got a little bit lost.
Is massive, as you can see.
It is massive, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I don't like about Unity is their UI system. I think it could be way better. But let's deal with it for now.
Yeah, let's I guess yeah, I should be alright, I guess. Let's see, the platform is over there, so if I reach the platform, it should be.
So
yep.
Yeah, can you scroll out a little bit more?
Okay.
Yeah, way more, like as far as you can. You'll see a giant box.
Yeah, I see
right?
a giant box.
That giant box is actually what's going to show up in your screen
Okay.
or the boundaries of your screen.
Right.
So what you want to do is probably have the text in the center of it.
Okay. So shall I drag it?
Yeah, drag it to the center.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah. As you can see, that text is quite basic, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's try and make a better one.
All right. Where shall we
Um,
begin?
so right-click your canvas
Uh-huh. Yep.
on the outliner.
On the
Outliner,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Select the canvas. The canvas is not in the menu. Go out of the menu
Okay.
and select the canvas, the third object on the bottom, third last.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I see.
Right click that.
Yep.
And go to UI.
Yep.
And select the second option.
Text Mesh Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Import.
you might have to import, yeah.
TNP Essentials. All right, that's done. Shall I import examples and extras as well?
And then just close it if you want to. But I don't think we need it.
Okay. Too late. I clicked it. I hope it's fast.
That's all good.
Yeah. Done.
Yep. And you can close the dialog.
Yep.
And let's delete the text that we made before.
Okay.
Yep. Delete that one. And let's use that one because I think that one's a bit better.
All right.
And on the left, you can change it to UWin.
Yep. Let's do a bit vintage. Let's go game over. Like in those old Sega games. Game over.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You can change the font if you want to, but I think there's only two options.
All right.
And you can make it bold. Yeah, change the settings. There's a lot more you could do with Text Mesh Pro as opposed to the basic text that you had before. All right, so that's gonna be our screen that we're gonna show when the game is done, right? So first thing we want to do is select the canvas.
Yep, select
again
canvas.
Yep. And we want to hide it. So to hide it, select the inspector, go to the inspector and select the checkbox. Yeah.
This one? Yep, gotcha.
And that should hide your canvas.
Okay.
And what we want to do is when we reach the platform,
we want
to show the canvas.
Yep.
Yeah. So before we do that, let's see if our canvas is working in game. So just hit play. Make sure you have the canvas on first.
Yep, it'll be here. Now it's on. Yep, you can see.
And you could see our game over text.
Oh, right. It's like it's always there, like in front of you. Cool. I get you.
Yes. So now we know how it works. So we can disable it again and work on our script.
Let's do it. Script. All right. How shall we start?
All right. So let's see. So did you create a scripts folder?
Yes, I'm inside of my script folder right now.
So yep. So right click. And create C# script.
Yep.
And we want to name it, say, game over trigger or something like that.
Should I give it an extension?
Game over is fine.
Okay.
It should create an extension itself.
Okay.
So double click that, and it should open up a editor.
It did.
All right. So let's explain a little bit what's going on here. So we have two functions. We have a class that's game over, which is the script we created, and we have two functions in that. We have the start function and the update function.
Yep.
So the start function will get called once and at the start of the game. It's pretty simple. And the update function gets called every time,
Yep.
every frame
Every
of your
frame.
game.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does make sense. So we wanna
Yeah.
we ideally want this to see when we collide with the platform, that is our finishing point, and put
Yeah.
some code into the update function
Yeah.
to basically enable the canvas as soon as we hit a platform, as soon as the collision is
Yeah.
fulfilled.
That may be one way to do it,
Uh-huh.
but there's a more efficient method where you can use a function that specifically gets called when a collision happens.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to create a collision box,
Okay.
and when the player collides with this box, it's going to call that function.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So let's close the script for now, and we'll come back to that later.
Yep.
So let's go back to the blue platform that you created.
Zoom in. Can I just do that? And F?
Yeah,
Yep.
NF, yeah. And select the blue platform.
Yep.
And let's create a cube on top of it.
Okay.
Just create a new one. So I'll show you another way to create a cube. To go to game objects at the top.
Here?
There's a menu at the very top. There's a game object menu.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yep. And then 3D objects, and you can create a cube that way. So that's another way to create a game object. So let's drag that cube into place. So just imagine this cube's gonna be transparent.
Yeah.
And it should be wide enough that the player is always gonna collide with it when he's on the platform.
Yep.
So R is to scale it.
R, yeah, that's what I was looking for. R.
Yep. You might want to make it a bit shorter and more centered.
Yep.
And W is to position it.
Yes. So let's call it this. And W is to position. Let's position it, align it first.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Do make it taller in Y, so we can guarantee that the player always collides with it. So press R and scale it, and then W and move it up. Yep, sweet. And we could center it in X if you wanted to.
Yes.
All right, so what we want to do is we don't want to see the we just want the collider, but we don't want to actually see the box. Yes. So in this case, we can actually disable the mesh renderer component. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. So we just have a collider now.
Okay, the collider.
Yep, sweet. Collider is the last component.
Yes, box collider.
Yep. Yep. So select your player FPS controller. That's in your outliner, the very first object.
Yep.
And let's add, let's see if it has a collider. Yeah, it has a character collider. So the second component is a character collider. Yeah. So when two colliders collide, and one of them has a rigid body, the one that has a rigid body will have the on collision function. That can be called in the script. So we'll see how this happens. So let's drag. So go to the bottom, scroll down to the bottom.
Yep.
Click on add component.
Add component, right? Gotcha. Yep.
Yep, and look for game over. That's gonna be the script we created.
Right, go back.
No, not the new script. Just search for game over.
Here we are.
Yep, the first one. Yep. So now we've attached the game over script to it, but right now it doesn't do anything. So let's click on game over. Double click, yeah, and let's create a new function called on collision.
Okay. There we are.
I think the first O might be capital.
Yep. Let me just fix up the curly braces because I want to be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. First O capital.
And I believe it's on collision enter because there's two functions. There's on collision enter and on collision exit. So enter is when we first time the collision happens.
Yep.
And there's a variable that's called collision. So let's make a variable, a parameter for the function.
Right. Inside the function?
A parameter would be next to the function.
It's like here.
So within the curly brackets.
Oh yeah, within the curly brackets.
The round brackets, sorry.
Oh, the round brackets. How the parameter? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So create a collision variable, capital C.
Capital C. Uh-huh.
And we could name this collision. So space and collision.
Like it?
Yep.
Cool, gotcha.
That's it.
Mhm.
And what we need to do is, so the collision is a set of is an event, and the collision variable has the properties that happens
Yep.
when a collision happens.
Yep.
So what we want to check is if the other objects that we collided is the box that we collided with.
Okay.
So one way to check this is we could check it against a tag.
Yep.
So let's create a tag. So let's minimize the script for now. And we can select our cube.
The cube, yep. Here it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's best to name our cube.
It probably is. Let's rename it.
Game over cube. Yeah.
Yep.
And in the inspector, you'll see a tag drop down at the very top.
Yes, untagged.
Yep. And we can create a new tag. Or we could call it finish. Yeah.
Okay.
You can just use finish. That's right. And let's go back to our script. We're going to use our tag to determine the object that we collided with. So let's go back to the script.
Right.
And I noticed that you don't have IntelliSense with your editor, so I'm going to use mine to kind of help out to make sure that I'm doing this right. So what you want to do is if and collision dot collider.
Because you got autocoupled, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Dot tag.
Dot tag. Dot finish.
Dot capital C compare to capital T O. Yep. And within the brackets, create a string and call it finish.
Is the string created like this in C#? Yep, it is.
String is with quotes.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, open the curly braces, close the curly braces from here. All right.
All right. Just give me a sec. All right. I think the compare to would return an integer, so a -1 would be less than, 0 would be equal to, and 1 is greater than. Let's actually do like for simplicity's sake, let's do tag is equal to
Finish.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Tag space equal to open quotes.
Like this.
Yep. And let's make sure this function works. So do debug. So let's log it out into our console. Debug. So capital D.
Yep.
Dot log, capital L. And let's put in a string and maybe call it a collision happened. Just.
Is it like this?
Yep.
Is there
So we just want to check if.
Semicolons?
A semicolon. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So this is going to be a quick test to make sure we get a message that says collision happened.
Yep. Good idea. Shall we play and see if it works?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's have a go.
Cool. It's reloading the scripts. There we are.
Yep. Try to get on the platform and see if you get a message on the bottom of your game.
Where's my console?
Your console, actually, if you
Oh yeah, I
see. Yeah,
it's
right. Yeah.
No, there's nothing here.
So it seems like the collision didn't work in this case.
No, it did not.
So we need to do some debugging.
Yes.
All right. First, let's see if a character has a script in it.
As in FPS controller?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. It's right here.
Seems like it does. This is a good thing. Like sometimes when you code, you might find issues that may not work, so you might need to do some debugging.
Have I saved the? I think I did save the file. Definitely saved the file, so that's not the problem. Yeah.
Let's see.
What else could it be? So if collision at collider attack is equal to finish, so I spelled that right, just to make sure I spell it. Yeah, it's all right. So so the FPS controller itself is untagged, but what we care about is the platform, right? And
yeah,
the platform is
the actual
the
game over cube needs to be tagged. That's the bottom one. Yeah.
Yes, and it is tagged. It's called finish.
Tagging to finish.
Yeah.
Because you've set this up pretty early, your editor probably doesn't have the debugging options that you could usually have. You would need some plugins to do some debug.
So let's do this. Just to make sure that debug actually works, and it would. Let's go ahead and put.
That's a good idea.
Here,
yeah.
And it's like, if it's working, update or whatever.
Yep.
Let's play this and see if it actually gets something on the console itself. Because it should
That's a
update
good idea.
frame by frame, right? So you'll always keep waiting.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Let's play the game.
Yeah, just give it a sec.
Yep.
Yeah, seems like it's working.
Yep.
It's updating.
It is indeed. Let's stop the game.
Yeah.
Clear
So it's definitely not our debug console.
Yeah, definitely not this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So on collision enter. This function is never called. Oh, it should be called as soon as I collide, right? With something.
Yes, that's right.
So this function on collision enter, it is called when my main object, so like when my camera collides with something. In this case, the FPS controller.
Let's do one thing. Sometimes it could be the issue of the rigid body being on the wrong
we could always
character.
To check one more thing, we could always print this here to actually see this function's ever called when I collide.
Yes.
Let's try that.
I think that's a great way to debug your code when you can't have breakpoints.
Exactly. That's the way I do it normally. I don't use any tools to debug when I probably should.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. Let's jump onto the platform and see if it prints anything. Okay. It does not. So
unfortunately, it doesn't.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what I collide with. It doesn't show it. Cool. Yeah. So we've narrowed the problem down. It's not that the collision is not equal to tag, it's that this function is never actually called. So that this is the problem.
Yes.
So
let's do a quick test. Let's add a rigid body to a game over cube.
Okay. Scripts. Okay, cool. So the game over cube wants a rigid body. Okay. Although just before I do this, one question. Would this function be called if I was to collide with anything else, like any of the other cubes that we have? Because they have a rigid body.
Yes, yes, yes. It will collide with anything that has a collider.
Yep.
But that's why we have a check for the tag to make sure the collision happens to the object that we wanted, we
Yep.
are interested in.
Yep. So in this case, this function was never called when I collided with anything, including the cubes that have a
Yeah.
rigid body.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a few other things we could try.
Uh-huh.
Let's go back to this scene, and yeah, we've got the game over cube selected.
Yes, we do.
Let's turn on is trigger.
Is trigger?
That's within the box collider component.
Okay. Is trigger. Turn it.
Yep.
What does that mean?
So it's gonna act as a trigger.
Okay.
So it's a different way of handling collisions.
Right.
So let's go back. Yep. Let's go back to the scripts.
Yep.
And I believe there's a function called on trigger enter.
A separate function, yeah?
Yes.
On trigger enter, like this.
Yep. And we open brackets, close brackets, and we also add a variable as a parameter that's called a collider. Yeah.
Okay. Shall we do here?
So in this case, we want the script attached to the game over cube, and when the character collides with it, it will call this function.
Okay.
All right. So just do a debug log and see if we can get this to work.
Let's copy and paste this.
And in this case, we'll change the collision to trigger. Just yeah.
Yep. What do you mean change the collision to trigger?
Collision text to trigger. So we know it's a trigger, not a
Oh yeah. Right.
collision. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just make sure that. Okay. So let's play the game.
So in this case, let's attach the component to the game over cube.
Okay. So we want the script here.
Yep. Yeah, you can drag and drop.
There we are.
And on your FPS controller, let's delete the component that's on the bottom. So we had the one before, we just disabled that.
Okay.
And we're just adding it to the trigger.
Right.
All right, let's run the game and see what happens.
All right. So let's go. I want my console, right? Just to see.
Yes.
Our
spacebar is broken. Oh, there we go.
It's because I clicked on the console before. My mouse, man. What's my mouse? There we go. Oh, I missed the button. Let's try this again. Actually, I don't have a mouse. It's just like it's as though I was playing full screen. The thing I was
complaining about now
no longer a problem.
Yeah, it seems to be working now.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
It worked. The trigger text. Cool. So
the trigger worked. Yeah.
Alright, now,
so I think what we
escape.
So the issue we had before is we added the script to the player, but I think what we needed to do is add it to the trigger.
Okay. Alright, so from here on, basically what we wanted to do is we want to copy and paste this this if statement.
I do want to test one more thing.
Okay, let's test one more thing. Sure.
Let's test if collision enter actually works. So take the debug log from the bottom line, line 27.
Yep.
In your script.
Oh, sorry, yeah, line 27. Yep.
And put it outside the if check. Yeah, outside the if statement.
Yep, that's 97. On a collision enter.
And yeah, let's test if we have this code
working.
run as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Before you run, disable the trigger. I think it will only get called if if it's not a trigger.
Okay. What was the trigger
So
again?
it'll be in your rigid body.
Rigid body. On the
In
game
select
cube.
your game cube
Yep.
and disable is trigger in the box collider. Sorry.
Box collider. Yep. Gotcha.
Yep.
Here we go. It's disabled. Now let's run the game. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a go.
How did I do it last time when I lost the mouse and it was so much better?
I think you clicked on the console and then clicked on the screen. It's really weird.
So project console. Yeah, no, it didn't work. Didn't work this time. Like space, and then I click here. Oh, okay. I click on the screen itself, right? There we
Oh,
go.
I see.
That's a... Oh, I missed the platform. Let's try this again.
Pretty challenging game.
It is. Because you can sort of like easily pass it because the jump is way more powerful than it needs to be. There we go. No,
Yeah.
there's nothing happened. So.
All right. So we'll use the trigger code as before.
Cool.
I believe the collision requires this to be a rigid body.
Right,
So in this case, we probably just need to make a
that makes a lot
trigger.
of sense because you can't collide with something and it's not a body. So yeah, it makes sense. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So now it's a trigger, and so now our code is here. So if I am correct, what we want to do is we want to do this, and we want to put it here, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So this script is attached to our game over cube.
Yes.
So what we need to be checking is
the tag is different.
If it's a player, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the other object that's gonna collide with us?
Yep.
That's gonna be the player.
Yep.
So first, if you remember how to do this,
yes. Tag on the player, yeah.
Let's select player. The third last one is the player.
Oh yeah, player. That makes sense. And then in the script.
And we can go back.
Let's say player, right?
Change it to player. Yep.
And then let's check if it actually works before we do anything else.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Okay.
Feel free to delete the other function if you want to.
Yes. Make it cleaner.
It's nice to keep your code clean. Yeah.
And that looks weird. It just looks way too indented.
Yeah.
Collision happened. Yeah, let's check if it actually happened. Let's go and play
this.
Yes. A compiler error.
All right. Seems like you have a compiler error.
Seems like I do. Debug that locally. What the hell? What the indentations in C# don't matter, right?
They don't really matter.
So what could it be? Oh yeah, I probably deleted some curly braces that I should. No, I didn't. So we got start, we got update, we got this one, and the if statement. Oh, looks alright.
Let's go back again. Usually, if you have errors, it will show up in the console.
Yeah, no more errors.
All right. I see a number. I see an error icon on your console. If you go to your console and click on the error icon on the right.
Oh yeah, I see it's over there.
So collision does not exist. Okay, so
of course, because it's a collider.
We don't have a collision. Yeah. So what we want to do is collider.tag.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can delete.
Collider.
One of them.
Collider.tag. Let's see if this compiles. Seems to be working. No more errors. Cool. Now we can play the game. And the last time I did this, I clicked on the screen, and there we go. Now I've got to control the mouse.
All right. Let's see if you can make this jump.
Yes, and it worked.
Sweet.
All right.
All right.
Now it's
Awesome. So let's translate this into turning on the canvas.
Yes.
So the first thing we want to do is we want to get a reference to the canvas object.
Okay.
So what we could do is at the top of your class,
Yep.
you can create a public variable.
Okay.
So right after the class came over. So line 7. Yeah. So create a public canvas, which is capital.
Public what? Sorry.
Public canvas.
Canvas, yeah.
And yeah, just give it a name.
Canvas.
Yep. And in your right next to your debug log, you can do canvas dot I believe it's enabled equal true.
Okay.
Let's give that a shot.
All right.
So before we do that, we need to give a reference to the canvas. So minimize your scripts.
Okay.
And select your game over cube.
Yep. 1 second. It's compiling. Okay, game over cube.
Yep. And you can see the canvas variable at the bottom that shows up. So the variable you created shows up as
right here.
As a thing there. Yeah. So what we can do is drag the canvas from the outliner into it. So canvas from the outliner. Yeah.
Right. Drag it into.
Yeah. So this is a bit tricky. So yeah, you want to not let go before you drag it.
That's it. Yeah. Seem to have worked.
Yeah. This time it should have a reference and let's give it a shot. See if we get the text.
Okay.
It's a really simple script, and hopefully it works.
Let's see. Give it a shot. A jump. Collision happened.
So let's see what's happening. So
right.
Seems like a canvas didn't show up.
No, it didn't show up. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway.
All right. So let's go back and debug this.
Okay.
All right. So we have a canvas and we just enable it.
Yep.
And it seems like it doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Would it have been updated?
Let's see.
So we know that it goes here. So this has happened, which means that the problem is with line 25.
Yeah.
So the canvas has a reference, and that reference is just called canvas. And
this is a really weird one. All right, let's change the canvas to game object.
Okay.
So change the middle name to game objects.
Yep.
This might be a weird case where the canvas doesn't know what enabled means.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. And let's try that again.
Should this be yeah, I'll try this again as is. Gotcha.
Make sure it's canvas is referenced.
So I've got a game. Canvas is
referenced. Okay, I see.
Canvas does not contain a definition of enabled.
All right. So it might be a different name in this case. All right. So it's dot active, I believe.
Active. Okay.
Give me a second. Oh, there's a set active method that you could use.
Okay, set active.
Yep.
Oh, this one doesn't throw me an error, but let's use set active, yeah?
Yep.
That sounds more like something that would actually let it
That's the beauty of live coding. We just make stuff on the spot. All right, set active. You wanna
Okay, it doesn't
it
have
is
set
a
active.
function. So you wanna set active is a function. The S is capital,
Oh yeah, gotcha. Set active is a function.
and I need brackets.
Right, and you put throw inside of it, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Like this?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if that compiles. I have compiles on the spot, so just yeah, it
Third
does.
time's a charm.
Yes, it is. So shall we run the game?
Yep.
Okay. Let's run the game. So in this case, game object is the canvas, and we got set active. So as soon as we collide. Missing
All right. It
reference
seems
code.
like.
The
All right.
variable-
So our reference might have. Yeah. So if you close the game,
Uh-huh.
I think I know what's happening. So when you close the game,
Yep.
And select your game object, game over cube,
Yep, game over cube.
you'll notice that when we change the type from canvas to game object, it the variable didn't make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to do the same drag and drop again to kind of to get it to work. So,
right, so what I
drag your canvas
Uh-huh.
to the variable, just like you did before.
To this variable?
And let's see if that works. Yep.
Okay.
Now run the game.
Uh-huh.
So before it was treating it as a canvas variable, but now it's treating it as a game object.
Okay.
Remember, everything in the game is a game object.
Yep, gotcha.
And canvas is a component.
Yay, we got it done.
There we go.
Game over.
So what happened before was that we used canvas, but the canvas is actually a component to the game object. Everything is a game object on the outliner. Everything that you see is a game object, and all game objects have multiple components. And in this case, we used canvas before, which was a component, and when we enable a component, that didn't really make sense.
Yep.
Because the component was already enabled. What we needed to do is make the game object active. So if you select the canvas,
Yep.
the checkbox at the top basically tells you if the game object is active or not. And the component on the bottom, on the second component, which says canvas,
Yep.
and the checkbox over there is actually stating whether it's enabled or not enabled. So in this case, the tick box basically means the canvas is enabled.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, but really good job. So you've done it.
Yes,
we
created our first game.
Yeah, we created a few cubes, added some physics, created some platforms, and created a game over script. Really simple.
I feel good. I learned how to use Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
It is.
I mean, these are just few things, but there's a ton of things to learn game development, but this is a really good start.
Well, thank you for that. It's been very productive. A lot of fun.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the process, feel free to ask them, and I can clarify them if you need to.
Yeah, do you want to take a minute to tell the viewers about yourself, who you are, what you do, where people can find you and follow you, your GitHub, maybe?
I have my GitHub is Striker XYZ. I'm a game developer. I don't really do streaming or anything, but I'm here just helping out my friend make a video. I'll show you guys how to do a quick tutorial on how to make a little game and find out for yourself how Unity works, and just a little introduction. Hope you guys find it really useful.
All right, sounds
good. That's it.
Yeah, I'll leave the link to your GitHub in the description. All right, well, thank you, Clinton. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll do this again sometime with a more complicated game.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yep.